Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. It's in the description below. It's your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any Watchbox platform. Reach out to me at my email address for pricing. Email tmosso@thewatchbox.com. Today we are discussing a lovely Patek Philippe Nautilus Moonphase 5712G-001. The 5712G is a white gold take on the Nautilus Moonphase, a watch that is 40 millimeters in diameter by 8.8 millimeters thick, and then from end link to end link, the rigid distance that I cannot compress, the minimum distance across the wrist is 50.4 millimeters. So we're going to throw this watch on my wrist, which is 16 centimeters in circumference. You'll get a good sense of it. As you can see, the watch is broad and flat, thin enough that you could wear it underneath any tight dress sleeve or cuff. I would recommend this watch for a wrist as small as 14 centimeters in circumference. Now you can see the watch is a rather discreet take on the Nautilus. The combination of the strap, the low profile, the soft grayscale tones. It's a lovely watch in good taste that could be your dress watch or your sports watch. And as you can see, the watch has a timeless quality about it. Nothing about this watch is overly exuberant. It almost has a Teutonic sobriety about it. That understatement is much appreciated. Instead of a bracelet, the 5712G here features a Patek Philippe factory strap in leather. There is a rubber one version, available if you want to go swimming. There is a rubber one available that matches the look of the leather. It's almost identical aesthetically. We have a sort of anthracite coloration. It's not quite black. It's large rectangular scale alligator leather in a matte finish with a broad folded edge, a slightly contrasting gray stitch. It is that anthracite color between black and gray. You can see that there is a full deploying clasp, which I find to be of higher quality than the clamshell closure used on the full bracelet 5711. You can see that it has two folding components. It is polished internally, and then there's a twin trigger system with one of the swing arms acting as the springs for the release. You have a Nautilus engraving on the top, so you know exactly what you're wearing. And of course, the standard 5711 with the bracelet features a rather cheap clamshell lock. I like the fact that here we get a more secure twin trigger system and a small wrist-friendly double fold. A single fold can often pinch a smaller wrist. The case is beautifully made. This is gray gold, so it's an 18-karat white gold alloy that, unlike conventional white gold, never needs to be rhodium plated. So if you scratch through, there's more white gold underneath. It's a somewhat more expensive and less common way of making white gold, but Patek Philippe does it this way and has since at least 2006. The case is beautifully made and intricate. I often tell people that the real difference between even a standard automatic Nautilus and an Aquanaut isn't necessarily the bracelet, because you can get an Aquanaut on a bracelet. The difference is the case construction and the difficulty of finishing the case. Three pieces: case back, mid case, and then this bezel with the winglets that arc out over the sides. You can see the beveling on the sides of the lug profiles, the satination on the flanks, satination over the top, the contrast between the polish of the end links and the satination of the lug hoods. We have a bezel that is a rounded polygon, and unlike the Royal Oak, which is a rounded polygon outboard but circular inboard, here we have a inner bezel, a sapphire, and a dial that trace the exact same rounded polygonal form as the bezel itself. Satinated on its top, it's polished on its sides. This is an extensively hand-finished watch. There's a small pusher adjuster that you can use for correcting the Moonphase, and then another one for the calendar. We have sub-seconds with coaxial Moonphase and radial date, a power reserve indicator. It is a 48-hour automatic winding power reserve. The dial here is gray, but there's no gradient. Unlike the 5711, for example, the dial is as bright at the edge as it is at the center, and the dial is a very close match for the tone of the case, creating a broad monolithic appearance that's very attractive and, again, understated. This watch, specifically in white gold form, is a very understated take on luxury sports watches. So the timepiece features white gold indices as well as hands to resist tarnish or oxidation over time. You can see that the watch does include the screw-down crown, 60 meters of water resistance, so if you go with the rubber strap, the watch is surface swimmable. Of course, the timepiece can be wound manually, even though it's an automatic. You can see the power reserve scoots along if you do choose to manually wind the watch. If you prefer a little bit of entertainment during a meeting, you can always re-energize your watch, play with the power reserve like so. The watch includes caliber 240, which is the more premium of the two Patek automatic series. Generally, the center rotor automatics are for volume and the micro rotors are for flagship pieces. So we have 29 jewels adjusted in 6 positions with a 48-hour power reserve, a 21,600 vibration per hour beat rate, a rugged free-sprung gyromax balance. We have the 22-karat micro rotor, the benefit of a micro rotor being you have an automatic movement with the convenience that entails, but with the broad open display case back of a manual and the thin profile of a manual watch because the winding mass is in the same plane as the other bridges. So the watch has the 6-position adjustment, the Patek Philippe seal, the gyromax free-sprung balance, and then a silicone hairspring, and those 4 features together allow Patek to guarantee that this watch will run no worse than -3 + 2 seconds per 24 hours from the factory. Beautifully decorated with mechanically started but manually finished beveling. You'll see the same anglage within all of the jewel and screw sinks. You can see some of the locating pegs used to locate the bridges. Those have been black polished on their tops. The screw heads have been black polished with their slots and their circumference chamfered. There's engine turning on the base plate, the satination on the wheels, and then the Côte de Genève aligned across the bridges. Reach out to Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details of this Patek Philippe Nautilus Moonphase in white gold.